This last video for the final exam review, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of functions and creating um, a, uh, a scattered plot graph. So the first one we're going to do is covariance. And this gives us a relationship between two values. We're going to look at the relationship between age and purchases. And zoom in a little bit here. And so that'll be equal. And we want to use covariance. And we want to use covariance.s because this is just a sample set of data. And what we need is the first range of data and the second range of data. So the first one's going to be A5 to A40. And then our second array, so think of array as your data set. That's going to be B5 to B40. And then we'll just hit tab or enter, and that gives us a very high number. So there's really no relationship between the two. Correlation, this is going to give you some sort of an idea of a forecast or of being able to create an equation that'll show you how you can predict kind of the future, what your value is doing. So in this instance, we're going to use the function correl. And it too has two sets of data. So the first one is going to be A5 to A40, and the second will be B5 to B40. And this gives you a 0.6516. So if you think of this as a percent, that's 65%. So it's telling you there's some relationship. We'll see more with that when we actually create the scatter plot. So that just gives you two numbers. The correlation can be between -1 and +1, and the closer they are to -1 or +1, the better the data is falling within a standard line, a trend line. So the last part here is we want to create a scatter chart. So we want to actually start with A4 because we want to give it the X and Y, and we'll do Control-Shift right arrow, and then Control-Shift down arrow will select all that data. And we can go to the Insert tab, and we can do Recommended Charts, and we're going to do All Charts, and we're going to look for XY Scatter. And we're just going to use the second option. And then click OK. And I'm just going to scooch this back up so it's closer to the data. And you can see that your data goes from ages, which is the horizontal or the x-axis, and the values, which is the vertical or the y-axis. A couple of things we want to do. Let's give a better, more descriptive chart table. So we're going to do purchases dash age correlation. And then we want to have, when you look at this chart, you really don't know what these values along the horizontal axis or the y-axis correspond to. So we're going to add axis titles. So if you click on the chart, you get the little plus sign over here, and we can see that we have axis titles. So we'll just click those. And so this axis title, the horizontal, this is going to simply be age. And then this vertical, I find it's easier to click once and then do a Control-A to select everything. This is going to be purchases revenue. So that gives us a little bit of information there. But we also want to see what kind of a trend line do we have. What is this giving us? So if we click on the plus sign here, we can go down to trend line. And that gives you kind of like what it thinks is trend line. And that's kind of like created from this this equation of the line. So this tells you that if you wanted to predict beyond this age, this would give you some ability to do that. Or if you want to go below this age, you could do that. And so that is working with some scatter chart and the covariance and the correlation.